Remember me, the drawing guy? Yeah. Well, if this is your first time watching, I work for Joe Gibbs Racing, and we're inside these days, staying safe, staying healthy, and I figured, hey, why not do one of the things I love doing so much, which is drawing. And then I also love race cars. So if we put the two together, we might have something on our hands. Well, today it's a very special episode as well because we're going to have some friends joining us, friends in Pennsylvania from the Pocono Raceway in just a minute. So I believe they are going to start coming in here pretty soon. And if you're watching on the Pocono Raceway pages, hello and welcome to the show. My name is Boris. I work for Joe Gibbs Racing. You know Joe Gibbs Racing, right? Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, Eric Jones, Riley Herbst, Brandon Jones, Ty Gibbs, Harrison Burton, all these drivers in the NASCAR series. We're going to have a good time today because we're going to draw some race cars. Now I know, shout out to all of our friends in Pennsylvania and around the Pocono Raceway track that are out there staying safe. We're going to make the most of our stay-at-home time, and we're gonna draw today. So thank you for joining me. Let's jump right in. What do you say? I'm going to use an iPad today and an Apple Pencil, but that doesn't mean you have to. You can use a pen and paper, or you can use some markers or crayons or finger paints. Heck, you can take the phone out onto your driveway with some chalk and draw if you want to. We've had people do that actually. So let's jump in. Today, it's the Pocono Raceway themed drawing show. And you know what that means? That means we have to draw Denny Hamlin's race car because Denny Hamlin is one of the best ever at Pocono Raceway. Am I right? In fact, he won his first ever race there, in the Cup Series at least, in 2006 at Pocono Raceway. And that's what we're going to draw today. But first, we're going to get warmed up. All right? Are you ready? Do you have your drawing materials together? Thank you for joining me for today's drawing. So, I'm going to start with a clean slate here. Check my digital pencil, my Apple Pencil. It's working great. How's yours working? You don't have to recharge your pens, do you? They can only run out of ink. Well, who knows anything about the Pocono Raceway out there? I know a few things. I've been there many times, and let me tell you, I miss it. It's a great place to watch a race. It is a beautiful area. Sometimes we see wildlife, and in fact, sometimes we see foxes out there. So today, we're going to start with the track shape, Pocono track shape, which is very unique, and their mascot, nicknamed Tricky. Right? So first of all, Pocono, they call it the Tricky Triangle. Did you know that? So we're going to draw a triangle, and then we're going to round the edges just to get warmed up, drawing the track shape, okay? So draw a triangle, do as straight of a line as you can along the bottom. Now here's the deal, I'm going to use a method that leads us to have to erase a little bit. If you can't erase, you might want to hold off for a second. I'll show you a different way to do this. But let's draw a triangle. Now it's not perfectly symmetrical, Pocono. It's not a perfect symmetrical triangle. You see this point ends a little further to the left, and then connect the two. Now if you're able to erase, you can round off these edges like this. And that'll give us our turns, and then you can come in here and erase, and you'll have a perfect track. If you cannot erase, like maybe you're drawing with pens or crayons or something, just hold tight. I'm going to show you a different method. Just use this example as a learning tool for when you start drawing yours. We're just getting warmed up. We're going to draw a race car here very soon. But we just drew the track shape of Pocono. This is the front stretch, very long front stretch, let me tell you. Very, very wide. I feel like they could land the president's airplane on that track if they needed to. But that's your basic shape of Pocono. Now, if you can't erase, let me erase my scribbles over here first that I was testing my pen with. If you can't erase, you can try a different method. You can come over here, start with that long pond front stretch again. I was trying to draw with my eraser. That's not going to work unless you're erasing into something, of course. Start with your line again. That's your front stretch. And then just start the other lines a little bit further away like this, and then we'll just connect the dots. See how that's going to work? A disconnected triangle. And then all you have to do is just draw your curves in there. All right. You feeling warmed up? You feeling good? You understand what we're drawing today? You see the shape of that track? That's a triangle, my friends. Or something very close to it at least, a rounded triangle. And they call it the the tricky triangle, Pocono. I know many of you know that out there. So tricky triangles need a mascot. We call it tricky because it's wide, it's flat, it's very tough to master, but not for Denny Hamlin. Next, I'm going to show you what we're going to draw. We're going to draw Tricky, the mascot that you'll see at Pocono. Look at this fox. I found that on the Pocono Raceway website. I hope once we get going back to racing, you're going to join us at Pocono Raceway if you can. Once things are a little bit more back to normal, a little safer out there, can't wait to get back to the track. But what do you say we draw Tricky the fox here? I think that would be a fun thing to do. So I'm going to move him over here. I always use a reference photo. And we're going to just draw his head and shoulders today, and then we're going to get into the race car. We've got to get warmed up. So the first thing I want you to do is draw kind of like the bottom of a heart. Okay? How would that look? You know what a heart looks like, right? It's like this. Imagine that we erase the top of the heart. So we're just going to draw the bottom of the heart like that. This is going to be his chin and the bottom of his face. You can even, if you want to, start adding in his hair in there like this. See how that worked out? He's a fox. So of course he's got some fur. So draw the bottom of a heart, the bottom half of a heart, with some fur on it. Looking good. Kind of a jagged line there. See how I did that? Oh yeah, oh yeah. There you go. While you're catching up on that, I'm going to read some comments, because one of my favorite things about this show is that I get to see your comments out there. I get to see what's going on, how you're doing. I hope you're going to send in some recommendations for what you want to draw in the future, and maybe even send your drawings that you drew today so I can see them. We'll share them on the show. Lots of people out there watching. Thank you everyone from Pocono. We see Victor's out there. Thank you for watching. Let's see who else is watching out there and Facebook and Twitter and all these different places. By the way, if you're just joining us, I'm Boris. I work for Joe Gibbs Racing, and we can't race right now, so I figured I love drawing. I know other people love drawing, and I love racing, so let's merge the two. Today we're drawing Pocono Raceway themed things. Let's finish up with Tricky. All right, now we need some ears on Tricky, don't we? Here's what you need to do. It's kind of like a shark fin. Go up like this. See that? Round it a little bit and then come back down. Big fox ear. There you go. And then you come up. Try to draw the same exact ear shape on the other side. There you go. And then I'm going to connect them in the middle with some more fuzz. Fuzzy line. Nice. Tricky the fox. Who thought we would have been drawing animals on a race car show, huh? I tell you what, it's always fun to see the mascot at Pocono because it means you probably won the race. He's waiting there in victory lane for you. All right, next we're going to finish off some fuzz in the ear. We're going to start down at the corner and we're going to just fuzz it up, fur it up right there. A lot of jagged lines here. If we were drawing these lines on a race car, it probably means the race car is having a tough time. Maybe there's a little wreck happened or something like that. And hey, that's okay, because we can tell whatever stories we want in our drawings. All right, now time to give this fox a face. How about we start with the nose? And it's going to be an oval that we'll fill in right about there. Not quite in the middle, but right about down there. Right in the middle from the top and a little bit halfway down the face there. Very good. Give that fox a nose. Okay. Heck, at this point you could turn this into a cat if you wanted to, but it's a fox. We're going to stick with the fox, right? Okay. Next, let's put the mouth in there. A little snoot, little snout. Just draw a straight line like this. I'm going to give him a little smile. He's focused in this picture, but I'm going to give him a little smile. I feel like this is a smiley kind of day. Sometimes we need a little more smiles in the world, right? So let's give him a smile for right now. And then draw a little line going up to kind of indicate that, you know how the snouts go on animals, right? Kind of divide it in half a little bit symmetrically down the face. Then give him a little banana-shaped chin right there. Just a little smiley face, half moon. That's actually not his chin, is it? That's just the bottom of his jaw. All right, this is coming together. Next, we need some kind of almond-shaped thin eyes. You see his eyes here? See how they're not really circular, they're like a leaf, aren't they? One of the tricks to drawing well is to look at what you're trying to draw and try to see shapes that you recognize and that you know you can already draw. So we see an eyeball there, but it actually is shaped like a leaf, and a lot of us know how to draw leaves, don't we? It's kind of like this. See? Kind of like that. So that's what I'm going to do over here, is I'm going to draw a leaf-shaped eye for Tricky, the fox. There we go. And then I'm going to do one on the other side. Now, do you know what the word symmetry means? Many of you may not, but symmetry just means if you divided this in half and you mirrored it, it would look the same on both halves. And ours are not exact, but we're going the best we can. How's that looking on your screen? I can look over there and see what you're seeing. Then we're going to draw a little part of a circle inside and fill it in to give Tricky some eyes. Because even Tricky wants to watch the races at Pocono, right? And for the most part, that's done, but this is where some color gets important. If you don't have color, what you can do is you can draw this part, see where it goes from white to orange? You can kind of do some cloud shapes there and draw that. But if you have orange, I'd recommend filling that in. And there you go. I'm going to color at the end, but we just drew Tricky. And what's going to be really cool is that we're going to draw a victory lane scene with Denny Hamlin, and we're going to put Tricky, our Tricky drawing, our fox, our mascot from Pocono, we're going to put him in victory lane, which is where he would be if we were really racing in the real world. So let's do that. If you just join us, we drew the track shape of Pocono, a triangular kind of shape. Now, let's move to the race car. That's why we're all here, right? It's time to draw race cars. That's the name of the show. Thanks again for watching. If you're on the Pocono Raceway page, hope things are great up in Pennsylvania, or if you're in that area, I hope you're staying healthy. I'm here in North Carolina. Why don't you tell me where you're watching from? Okay, first start with a line. Looking good. Now here's the trick though. We're not drawing Denny Hamlin's current day race car. No. His white and purple FedEx Camry. We're drawing the car that he won his first ever cup race with. And it was a black car, a black FedEx car. Can you believe that? It's changed a lot over the years. Get that line in there. And then draw a little line up here that goes about like that. And then in the back, draw one double that height. So about like that. Hopefully you can see that okay. And we're going to turn this little bracket, this little half box shape, into a race car. Can you believe that? We're going to make it happen today. Okay. Next, carry this line over, the tall line. Try to keep it parallel to the bottom line. Now, if you don't know what parallel means, that just means these two lines, they will never touch each other. They're just perfectly side by side. If they went on forever and ever and ever, they would never touch. If they're not parallel, one's a little crooked, it might eventually run into that line. But these, we're making a rectangle, right? They're perfectly straight together. But don't connect it over here. I want you to give kind of a sloped, curved connection to these lines, like that. That's going to be the nose of our race car. Dip down, cutting through the air, taking Denny Hamlin to victory lane at Pocono Raceway. Oh yeah, we're having fun here. This is good stuff. I like drawing these historic race cars, don't you? All right. Next, what do you think we should draw next? I think we have to put a roof on this car, right? So let's start with a windshield. We're going to start right about there. If I was to cut this car in half, you don't need to cut it in half. I'm just drawing a visual for you. If I was to cut it in half and then I was to cut those pieces in half, I think the windshield would start right in between these two lines. Let's call them line A, line B, line C, line D, and line E. See them? A, B, C, D, E. I would start the windshield in between B and C. That's where I would do it. So let's do that. That's where it's going to start. And I'm going to draw an angle about like that. Fast race car. And then I would start the rear windshield between D and E. Like that. Angled lines, kind of like the roof on a house, but they're not coming to a point, are they? They're stopping right before the point because we need to connect them across. All right, you can draw these lines if it helps you, but I'm going to have to erase them. So if you can't erase them, you might not want to. All right, while you're catching up on the roof, I am going to see what's going on in the comments because I really like hearing from y'all. See if I can get this to work. My internet's being a little slow because I'm sending out some drawing shows. So I'll try this again in a second. Oh, there it is actually. Oh yeah, a lot of people watching. I really appreciate you doing that. Looking good, having fun. All right, let's put some wheels in here. Some wheels and tires. All right, we got Ricky watching, Sally. We got Lynn out there, Matthew. Jason's in Virginia. People want me to do a Kyle Busch portrait, like Pamela wants me to do a Kyle Busch portrait. Drawing portraits is a little hard, but if y'all want to do portraits, we can try it. All right? Okay, maybe in a future episode. Now let's put some wheels in there, and there's a trick. You know how to draw the letter U? We're talking about tricky triangles, so there's some tricks to drawing too. You all know how to draw the letter U, right? It's a U. You can draw a U. Well, the wheel well on a race car, it's basically just an upside down U. So if I was to flip this, I'd put it right on line B and be done with it. There you go. An upside down U. So what you have to do is draw on line D an upside down U for the rear. Just like that. And there you go. Coming together. All right, now I'm actually going to bring this bottom line up a little bit because we need some ground clearance. That line is going to turn in the shadow of our car, and this is going to be the bottom of our car here. Very nice. And then I'm going to fix up the back a little bit because we need a bumper on this race car, don't we? We need a nice big bumper. You never know when Brad Keselowski or somebody's going to come up and give you a bump. So got to have a bumper, and you got to have a spoiler to keep the car on the track. You see what I did there? Bumper and the spoiler. Just did a little rectangle on the top and on the bottom to make the bumper and the spoiler. Now this is going to be a black race car, so we can fill in over these lines if we need to. Oh yeah, this is looking good. Let me pull up this Pocono track we drew earlier because I'll tell you what, it just kind of gives me some inspiration to know what we're drawing today. There's the shape of our track. Looking good. And we're drawing Denny Hamlin's race car that he won with in 2006, his first ever win in the Cup Series. Next, let's add some windows. So it's like we're drawing a second roof inside the roof. So just mimic these lines like that for the front and the rear, and then connect them. You've already done this. We're just doing it a little smaller than we did before. And then you divide them in half with like a number 11 there, and all of a sudden you got some nice windows for your race car. That's the one the driver climbs in right there. I don't recommend trying that on your real street car. That's a tough thing to do. A lot of practice for that. Okay, next, let's add in some wheels. I have two tricks I use for wheels. You can just do freehand if you're good at it and you have a lot of practice. I'll show you with kind of an orangey yellow so you can see what's going on, but that is not orangey yellow. Not at all. Kind of come up like this. This is my freehand wheel. I kind of like to be feathery and light and swooshy with my strokes here and make it come together pretty nicely. It's not going to be perfect. But there's a freehand circle for a wheel. But if you're not up for trying that, I have another method that's a little easier. And it's called the dot method. You may know about this already if you watch me, but you draw 4 dots. One at the top where the wheel will be, one on the right, one on the bottom, and one on the left. And just imagine that there was a plus sign there connecting them. That's how you know where to put them. But just draw those dots, and then all you have to do is connect the dots, right? Do a curve from one dot to the next, and then go from that dot to the next dot, curving it, and then do another curve there, and then do another curve on the bottom. And you've got a pretty darn good wheel, pretty good circle right there. You don't have to be perfect at drawing circles. There you go. Nice. Some funny colors in my circles there, don't I? I'm going to turn those black later, but hey, this is our drawing. We can color them whatever color we want, right? Well, folks, we are very close to being done with the template, the outer outline of our Denny Hamlin race car. I'm going to put a little fuel port back here. That's where we put the fuel in the car. Got to have a place for that. I'm going to put an axle, which is the hub right here in the middle of the wheel for the axle, that part that turns, and the brakes are stuck to that area too. And then, of course, I have to draw another circle inside in order to have a wheel, because you've got a wheel and then you've got a tire on the wheel. Don't forget about that. That car would not work very well if it was just running on metal wheels and no tires, would it? So I'm going to draw those in there. Remember, you can use the dot method here as well. Whatever you want. I haven't checked Twitter yet, so while you're working on those, I'm going to check Twitter, and then we're going to get to adding numbers and sponsor logos and a driver net and some color. All right? Devin's out there watching. Weston is watching. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the retweets on Twitter. I appreciate that. All the hearts that are going on. Much appreciated. If you're just joining us, I'm Boris, working for Joe Gibbs Racing. We're here on the Pocono Raceway channel as well, showing off some Pocono themed drawings. Having a good time. All right. Sue, Patrick, Georgie, Antonio, all watching. Thank you, friends. All right, next, let's add that number. I'm going to show you a great way to draw a race car number. And it starts with a square. Or it could be a rectangle. Depends how many number ones are in your car. So if you wanted to draw any number except any two-digit number, let me start with that. You draw a square. Okay? You draw this on the door of your car. I'm going to do that in a second, but I'm just showing you an example here. As good of a square as you can do, and then you divide it in half depending on the number you want to draw. So if your number starts with a 1, you need to do this. You need to leave it a little skinny right there, right? And then look, we could draw a 10 out of that, right? You just change this to whatever number you want. Maybe you want it to be a 3. Or maybe you want it to be a 5. Look at that, a big bold 15. Or an 8. Maybe you're a Kyle Busch fan. And now you've got an 18. Or maybe you're a Martin Truex Jr. fan, you want a 19. You see what I mean? It gives you a good guide to draw a number. That only works for two-digit numbers. For today, if we want to draw an 11, we're going to have to actually make it even more narrow. So what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to draw a rectangle by drawing a line on the bottom, and then a line on the top, and then I'm going to actually give it some lean and some angle to it. See? It's not a perfect rectangle, is it? It's leaning like it's been blowing in the wind. Denny Hamlin driving really fast. And then we're going to cut it in half. And all of a sudden, just like that, you have a big, bold NASCAR style number 11. But before we do that, I'm gonna add a little bump out up here on the top, because a lot of number 11s have that, just like Denny's. You've seen that, right? A little bump out on the top. And now, easy as pie, we have a number 11. Got our track shape up there. That's the one that Denny Hamlin drove so fast on. I can erase this while you work on your number. All right. What's next? Well, we have to put the FedEx logo in there. The FedEx logo is special because it's got a capital F, a lowercase e, a lowercase d, and then they'll often change colors, but the E is connected to the D like this. And then the E and the X connect, and they actually form an arrow, which is one of the coolest parts about this logo. I'll show you here in a second. Pretty fun. Look at that. But do you see the arrow in there? I'm going to show you. Look at this arrow. Isn't that cool? That's not by accident. Artists designed that in there. And yeah, pretty cool. So you can give that a shot if you'd like. I'd put that logo right about here above the rear wheel. And there we go. Now back in the day when Denny Hamlin won his first ever Cup race, he had 4 different colors on his FedEx car. Okay, the base of the car was black, but if he was running FedEx ground, which is, you know, the trucks and the deliver the big packages, he ran green on the car. And that's what he was running the day he won his first race at Pocono. So I'm going to add some green. And it was like this bright lime green like that. See that color? And I'll tell you what, that color just reminds me of Pocono. I don't know about you, but everything at Pocono Raceway is so beautiful and green. All the surrounding area, even the track, the grass, the infield, just a beautiful green color. So I think it's perfect that we're drawing the FedEx ground car from history. And it was a very clean, simple car. In fact, there were just a few green stripes on it. One was at the bottom right here. It actually continued on the nose of the car. And the spoiler was green. Let me zoom in so you can see what's going on. The spoiler was green. And then Denny's name on the roof was green. I'm just going to scribble that in there. I'm not going to be able to get that small. The outline of the white number was green, so I'm going to go back into my number and I'm going to outline it in green. Number 11. Of course, these days, Denny's car is white and purple. Great looking race car. Can really pick it out on the track. I'm looking forward to seeing it racing at Pocono Raceway sometime soon. And there you go. Now these wheels are bothering me. I got to turn those back to black here. So let me fix those wheels. All right. Are you ready to color this car in? Because I am. I'm itching to color this car and I can't wait. It's really going to come to life. First, let's give it a window net. The window net keeps Denny safe in the car. So you draw some lines up and down like this. And then you draw some lines side by side like that. And now you've got a window net. All right. So if you're coloring in a black race car, everything can kind of get lost and get muddy, right? If I color all this in black, you're going to lose a lot of the shapes in this race car. So I'm going to choose to do with a really dark gray, and I'm going to add some highlights in there. One way to do this is to fill it all in with a pencil and then start erasing some highlights in there. That's a method I'm going to use. But it depends on the tools you're using, okay? If you're going to use crayons or something, just push a little harder where you want it to be darker. The thing is, when the sun hits a black race car, it even makes shimmery, light gray and white areas to kind of define the shape of the car. It's not truly pure black. So that's what we're going to do today, all right? Do your best out there. I know it's hard to fill in your drawing sometimes. I'm kind of cheating because I'm on an iPad and I can do it really quickly. If you need to take your time, take your time. Don't worry about how far ahead I'm getting. But I'm going to show you here what happens. See, when I fill black, I lose my wheel well area. Now you can't see where the wheel well begins and where the car ends. So that's why I'm going to come back in and I'm going to add some grays and some white highlights, and I'm going to fix it up. I'll show you in a second. Don't want to lose that wheel well because that's one of the coolest parts of the car, I think. All right. That Denny Hamlin machine is looking good. I know he has a lot of great memories from 2006 when he swept the races at Pocono in this car. I don't think he has this car, though. I think he has his first ever non-points win, which was at Daytona, but I'm not sure what happened to this specific car. But that's no worry, is it? That's one of the beauties of drawing, is it helps us preserve good memories that we have. I remember when I was a kid, we'd go to the zoo and I'd draw all my favorite animals when I got home. So I think you can tell what's going on here, right? Everything's getting kind of lost. If I color the wheels in black, it would just look like a big shadow of a car. You wouldn't be able to see it. So that's why I'm going to choose a dark gray for the tires. See that? I know they're really black in the real world, but we got to work with different colors here to kind of keep our race car alive in our drawing. I'll be able to see it. I'm also going to add some Goodyear lettering on these tires. See how I can go in here now? I can go in here and I can kind of draw my wheel well back in with an upside down U and a light line. See that? And now all of a sudden, that Denny Hamlin car is coming back to life. At the top, since the sun's at the top, I like to draw some reflections at the top, like this. Just following the shape of the car. Look at that. Kind of give a little glimmer on the car. See that nose, how I defined a bumper with the gray? Oh yeah. Even on the roof, I'm going to add a couple gray swooshes up there. Swooshes make the car look fast, so why not swoosh it up? Very good, very good. I'm even going to make some swooshes go off the car like it's moving. Oh yeah, that's looking good. I'm going to look at what you're seeing. Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm even going to add some white in there. I'm getting crazy here. That sun is shining bright on Denny's race car, so I'm going to add a couple little white spots. That just is like a little sun reflection off the car. See it? If you're using a racer, you could go in there and erase. That's how you would add those in there. So our shiny FedEx car is really looking fast. I'm going to add a little headlight area up here, just to kind of indicate that there's a headlight sticker on there. Oh yeah. Now the wheels, they're also a black color. A lot of black on this car, so I'm just going to swoosh some circles in there. Get some circle swooshes. Very nice. You can even add some black circle swooshes like this. This makes that car look fast, doesn't it? Alright. Now I'm going to add some yellow for the Goodyear lettering on the tires. I'm not actually going to write it. I'm just going to scribble it on there a bit. See how I'm scribbling? Add some swoosh to the scribble to make it look like those tires are spinning. Look at there. Got a pretty good looking race car coming together, don't we? How about those windows? Here's where I'm going to get a little, what do you call it? Maybe poetic. You know what color Denny Hamlin's car is these days, right? It's purple. Well, I'm going to put some purple in the glass because glass can reflect all sorts of colors, so it fits well. But I'm kind of saying, I'm telling a little story, aren't I? I'm saying, hey, one day there's going to be some purple on Denny's car. It's only in the window right now, but maybe in the future it'll be somewhere else on the car. So look at there. They're adding just different shades of purple just to kind of give that window some feeling. Just to give it some swoosh action in there to make it come alive. I might even put a little purple on the rear windshield back here and on the front. Just to kind of make it come alive. Alright. Well, we're getting close to the end. How's yours looking out there? I'm going to erase my guidelines here. My letters. Give myself a clean slate. Clean it up a little bit. Make it look good. This Denny Hamlin race car is looking mighty fine. And of course, it's racing at Pocono Raceway, where it won in 2006 for Denny's first win. Alright, now, let me erase some of my drawings up here so we can add Tricky the Fox back in. Got Pocono up there. Got the track shape up here. Looking very good. Now where'd Tricky go? I gotta find Tricky. There he is. Alright. Let's see. Yeah. Looking good, looking good. Gonna move this Tricky over here. We don't need that Tricky. We need our own Tricky. We need to color him in, don't we? Now I'm going to imagine Tricky sitting up in the grandstand, cheering on Denny Hamlin. I'm going to give Tricky some arms and some shoulders here. He's watching a good race, isn't he? I'm going to draw the wall behind Denny. The wall is just a rectangle. We're going to keep it white. Alright. This is where you turn your drawing into a story. It's not just a race car now. Now it's a race car on a track, racing to the win. Let's color in Tricky up there, though. He needs some orange on him, doesn't he? Alright. Put some orange on Tricky up there. Very good. There we go. Coming together. Tricky's up in the stands watching the race like all of us. All Oop, gotta see his ear up there, don't we? There he is. Let me erase behind the eyes. Doesn't have those orange eyes there. All right. Very nice. Now, you know, on the backstretch of Pocono, there's some trees. So I'm going to draw some really fast trees blowing in the wind. More green back here. Look at this. I'm just doing swooshy trees. Kind of scribbly trees. It looks like they're moving, but they're not. Denny Hamlin's just going by so fast. Those trees. And Tricky's back here hiding behind the trees. What do you think? I know, we went a little crazy, but that's okay. Add some green swooshes in there. Makes it look like they're flying by. And Tricky's watching the race. And there you have Denny Hamlin's race car from 2006 when he won his first race at Pocono Raceway. Well, that's it for today's show. I really am glad that you drew with me. Please put your comments. You can post a picture of your drawing in the JGR comments, and I'll show it on the next episode, okay? So I really hope you'll do that, and then also in the comments, put a suggestion for what you want to draw next. Well, thanks to everyone who is watching us on the Pocono Raceway Facebook and Twitter pages. Really appreciate it. I'm going to read some more comments, and then we're going to call it a day. I'm going to go get some lunch. I'm hungry. Thank you all for watching, and stay safe, stay healthy out there, and let's do it again tomorrow. Every weekday at noon on the JGR channels is when we draw on here. Who's watching out there? Janae's watching, Sally, Devin, Luke, Janae, let's see, Rich, Tony, Doug. Very nice. We're going to do one show and tell this week, so we're going to put them all into one episode. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.